some of the other cool Levadas. And then if you're going to be there for a few days, I would definitely hit up Puerto Moniz.
Yeah. What? How was the airport?
I was there during COVID.
But like flying in.
Not bad. Is your woman a little sketchy with flying?
I mean, honestly, we both. I mean, I'm more sketchy with flying too, but
just don't look. Just don't
but
look.
Then we were like, we saw how it's like the most dangerous airport to fly into.
It's not the most dangerous, but it's not.
We saw a video that said it's the most dangerous, and you need a special license as a pilot to fly there. And then now she's like freaking out. I'm like, all right, we have to go.
It's not the most dangerous. Lukla is the most dangerous. It's interesting because you land on a runway on stilts in the ocean, and there's a lot of big side winds. But yes, you have to have a special license to get there. The good news is that means you have some of the best pilots ever as your pilots.
That's what I said.
A podcast about bourbon and the ones who drink it. This is Bourbon Matters. Welcome to Bourbon Matters. I'm Jake.
And I'm Gold Eagle Jake.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Gary.
And I'm Matt.
Wow.
We are, two out of three of us are
out of the intro.
Yeah, you should have skipped over hard.
You're in there at some point, Dan.
Wow.
We still love you.
Wow.
Yeah.
No,
well,
you don't.
We are
you don't have to. Just because you're a guest doesn't mean you have to act nice.
You're the one that moved away.
I know.
So we are recording live, at least two of us are, from Oak in Glenview, which Gary is part owner of. The reason we are here tonight is because they're releasing their first barrel picks ever as a restaurant.
Not as a restaurant. This is our first barrel picks of the year.
Oh, of the year. Sorry.
And we're launching our barrel club picks as a membership to the restaurant.
Got it.
Launching a barrel pick program. But also another reason we're here is because Matt, the blender of phenomenal spirits, Ry3 whiskey, is here doing a little presentation. And he's with us right now on the podcast. So welcome.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so as our listeners know, we had Karthik on a couple months ago, I think, which was a lot of fun right before a master class. So following up now with the Master Blender, completing the all the players there.
It's our duo partnership. Yep.
Yeah.
And actually, the master class that we had at Gold Eagle is how I was introduced to the Ry3 brand to bring them to our restaurant in partnership for this first barrel pick of the year.
Awesome.
Yeah, very cool. Full circle. So we're going to get into a little bit about the restaurant in a little bit. But while we have Matt here from Phenomenal Spirits, we kind of want to talk a little bit more on what goes on behind the scenes at Ry3. Since when Karthik was on the episode, we talked all about the brand, kind of the face of the brand. But I know you do a lot of the work behind the scenes, put this phenomenal whiskey together.
Yeah, definitely. So me and Karthik are the perfect pair in partnership. He is definitely the guy out there pushing, selling the brand. I'm trying to help him out a little bit here, but I'm the guy that hangs out in the warehouse making the juice, putting the different things together. That's where I like to live and stay. So, but no, we got this phenomenal Madeira finished rye that we did for Oak of the Glen. Just quick base behind like what we do there. So Ry3 is a blend of 3 different whiskeys. So right now we're using a 4-year-old 95% rye from MGP. We're using a 4-year-old 100% rye from Alberta, Canada, and then a 14-year-old light whiskey. So we call that our foundation blend. Once that's done, we go into different cask finishes. So we have our rum cask finish. We do a toasted barrel, the Madeira. We've done Narana. Play around with a lot of different things. It's kind of our little playground in there.
Yeah, last time we tried through, I think everything you guys possibly could.
Oh, yeah.
Everything.
Master class covered the entire run and even some of your runs.
And I believe this was Dan's favorite if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yeah. I'm not a rye drinker, and the Madeira finished rye was one of my favorites, or was my favorite of the lot that we tried, and one of my favorite ryes I've had. I also, part of it's probably just because I'm partial to Madeira since being there, but I do love a good Madeira finish when it's done correctly.
Yeah,
Super
and-
cool. I got to throw out there that I'm going to Madeira in 2 weeks.
Oh, weird. Hey,
wow.
cool. I
We're
wish
gonna
you
have to
knew
get
someone
Rub
that
it
went
in
there.
while we're sitting here in freezing rain.
I think it's going to be a little chilly there too, but it'll be a little nicer than here. And going to get some recommendations from Dan for some cool hikes. That's for sure.
I know a few. But yeah, no, the Madeira, I'm not a big finished whiskey guy, and mainly that's normally for finished bourbon. The rye, I think, pairs well with a finish, and a sweet Madeira goes very well with a rye. More so, I feel, than a rum. When you guys are picking casks, is that on you, or how did you decide to go with Madeira cask for a batch and for single barrels?
There are different things that we like to try. We got a great relationship with our barrel importer, and we're pretty fortunate that I would say for 99% of the distilleries out there that are doing different cask finishes, they put in the order and the place puts them on a pallet and ships it to them. The company is out of Colorado, but would they actually import and bring the barrels in through Chesapeake and Virginia, and their facility is 10 minutes away from my house. So anytime they have a shipment come in, I actually get to go into the warehouse, look at all the barrels that they have, open them up, nose them, and get to pick exactly what we want to work with. So usually a lot of that coming in. I think when I saw the Madeira, I was actually in there picking out some cognac, which was one of the first finishes that we did after the rum. And the Madeira were in there, went through, smelled a couple of them, and they're amazing. And just like you said, rye itself finishes really well with different cask finishes. Just the complexity of it, you still get to keep that great whiskey rye flavor with a little bit of that finish on the end. And knowing what our foundation blend was, and then smelling these Madeira, it seemed like you couldn't go wrong with this type of this finish for our product. So it was pretty easy. Got to go there, picked out a whole bunch of them, and brought them back in my truck, and just started blending into them.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, we talked I think a bit on that episode with Karthik about the tasting notes about the Madeira one, because Dan is not particularly a fan of rye whiskey in general, but he actually did like this one a lot. So I don't know if you have any memory notes on that one, Dan, that you want to share before we start diving into it.
I mean, Madeira wine is a completely different style of wine than what most Americans are used to. And if you've never drank straight Madeira wine, usually it's something that you use more in cooking than anything else. But the sweetness of it really, really cuts through and plays off the spice of the rye. It kind of had some, if I remember correctly, a little bit of red fruit flavors or something into it. I mean, 3 months ago I drink a lot, so it's tough. But I'll let you guys go through. But that was my takeaway was I don't buy a lot of ryes, and that was one of the ones that would be on my purchase list.
The Madeira is really where we were kind of looking for in our barrel pick selection process. We ended up actually picking 2 different barrels. We did pick the Madeira as the signature barrel for us, but we also found an unfinished rye that was just so amazing, or should I say phenomenal, that we couldn't pass up on getting a second rye. We're really a Kentucky bourbon forward restaurant with the feel, the vibe, the walls, the barrel heads, and you just did the podcast a month ago on like the rye drinkers who go blind and all of a sudden, go in a blind tasting and love a rye, and they like, I hate ryes, And we tasted this and we picked a very approachable unfinished rye, but we were also looking for a way to partner with the Ry3 brand itself to bring in a flight of their signature, base level signature drinks, but then have cocktail or a sipper that could go with that flight of their originals to see how elevated a barrel pick version can be versus the standard project.
Yeah. So while we have Matt on here, what I would like to ask is what I've seen with these Madeira barrels is they are wildly different from one bottle to the next from different single barrels.
Cut now, yeah.
Yeah, why is that?
Get closer.
Pretty close. All right, so we actually got some samples of some Madeira finish Ry3, and they were wildly different one bottle to the next. And one of them I remember was extremely smoky, and this was a barrel that I wanted to find to get a bottle for myself, but I didn't think it was something that we could mass sell to the public because it was so smoky, it was so unique. What do you taste when you're tasting through these Madeira barrels, and do you find like wild differences on these?
Yeah, so personally, when I'm going in actually looking for the Madeira barrels that we're looking for, some of my favorite flavors, notes I get from it is going to be the figs, dates, prunes, and then also a little bit of tobacco notes. That's personally what I look for. Every once in a while, though, we'll get some that have a little bit of that smokiness to them. And the whole reason why we do the whole single barrel program is to have a little bit of different things out there for everybody. Not everybody necessarily is going to want to have that sweeter profile. I think it works well with blending different barrels together. But as you said, there's certain people that like that profile, that one that you found, like that's their jam. That's what they want to go for. That's what they want to get. So we're once again pretty fortunate to be able to pick out different finishes. Different barrels that have a slightly different profile that's going to appeal to a wide mass of people.
This one has that smoke, for sure.
We're near the one that I was talking about, but it definitely has a little bit.
But yeah, it's there in the background, which is really nice. And this one like reminds me of like almost like juicy fruit. How but more like
in a dried fruit.
fruit.
It's not
yeah,
that it's not that bright fruit and like super juicy. It's very. We found one that was very complimentary with the leather dry notes at the finish that we wanted from a Madeira cask, but really, really showcased the fruit and that dried fruit and sweetness profile that you get from the Madeira. And this one was just so well balanced, and it also had a very smooth characteristic for a higher proof single barrel cask. Actually, a lot of the single barrels we were talking earlier of the Madeira finish actually fall in a 120 to 126 proof.
Yep.
And we found one that was a really good sweet spot at 118. So this one holds up really well in a cocktail. And what we were looking for, like I said earlier, this is going to be a signature Manhattan cocktail. Not only is it going to hold up well in a cocktail and complement the flavors of a Manhattan profile finish, but it's also going to be something that you can pour neat and enjoy because the flavor of the Madeira in there gives you a nice long sipper that you can enjoy for 20, 30 minutes on a single pour and have that nice long finish and sip over the evening.
Yeah, I had the Manhattan tonight and it was phenomenal. So good. The way that it plays, particularly with the vermouth, is like awesome. Just complement each other so well with those like darker fruit notes, and so yeah, it's also a great like overproof point for a cocktail where it's not gonna like destroy the cocktail.
Exactly. Yep.
But it gives you that little bit of extra boost, that you want sometimes in an overproof cocktail without just blowing out the complementary spirits.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
definitely.
it for sure doesn't drink like 118.
No,
I would probably
I
get
put this
105,
105 to 110 tops for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It has a little bit. You can tell it's a higher proof on the mouth feel, but there is absolutely no burn. There's no like when you drink a 20 plus, you normally get that chest burn. That first sip goes down. It's a really warm sip. This is just that perfect coat your mouth on the first sip to prep you for the rest of the glass that you're going to enjoy.
For sure.
One thing when you're asking also, again, different characteristics from the different barrels. One thing when I'm blending into the different finishing casks, I'm not first blending into a big massive tank and then filling up a whole bunch of Madeira barrels. So I'm individually blending into each one of those finishing casks. So that's why you're going to have some, once again, you have the 118. Traditionally, we see them up in the higher, low to mid 120s. But sometimes you got some light whiskey barrels that are a little bit lower in proof, so it's not going to jack it up as high as some of the other ones. And the one you guys had is absolutely amazing.
Are you tailoring that blend to the notes you get off of the cask?
Not necessarily. I'm more playing to the individual profile of what we expect from our foundation blends. Fortunately with the TTB, it gives us a little bit of variance within our percentage of what we use from each component. So I'm more kind of playing into like nailing our actual foundation blend and then letting the cask take it from there.
And to build off that, because you're using about the same 5-6 different finishing barrels on a consistent basis, do you have a timeline in your head on how long it needs to sit in there, or do you really need to watch these casks and taste as they're aging?
So with Madeira specifically, I can always let it go at least a month. I'll usually after 2-3 weeks start tasting through them just to kind of see what direction they're going in. But there's so many different things that play into it. Is it the first time it's been used, second, third? What time of year is it? We're in an unheated or an unconditioned warehouse. So during the winter time, it's going to sit a little bit longer. Summertime, it will speed the finishing time up a little bit. So, but usually anywhere in that like 3 to 6 month time is where it's usually going to land.
And we picked our barrel in the fall, so it had sat through a late summer, higher temperature. I think ours only sat in the barrel about 3.5 months.
I think at the end of it was 4 months on yours.
By the time it got bottled.
Yeah.
How are these casks wet when you're choosing them and smelling them? There's still Madeira in the cask when you're picking them?
Getting a fresh barrel, there could be a cup of juice in there. There could be 5 gallons left inside of it. You kind of never know, but we're going to empty that out before actually using it.
But it doesn't go through the drying process. You're actually using the wet barrel?
Yeah. So, there's still, the barrel itself is going to be wet, but we're not going to have excess juice sitting inside that barrel with it. For me, like kind of the art to creating like a great finished product, you want it to pick up the essence, the notes of what that barrel should give off. You don't want it to taste like there's a bunch of Madeira poured in with the rye. So it's playing that balance of it.
So let's talk about the 7-year also real quick. So I guess, why did you guys pick that one?
And the 7-year, 11 month. So we're just
shy of 8 years. Very, very close.
So still 7 years, though, right?
Still 7 years.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And we just had a 7-year.
We have a month statement on there, Dan.
Okay, all right.
It does say,
why didn't you wait one more month just for the 8-year?
Because it tasted perfect.
Okay, all right. Fair enough.
So we were looking for two, we were really looking first for that cocktail forward rye finished whiskey that was going to complement a Manhattan. We have a very extensive cocktail menu, very bourbon focused, very rye, very whiskey focused in general. And we like to use a barrel pick of our ryes to make our signature Manhattan. And looking at the taste profile of that Madeira, we knew it was going to complement the profile of that signature drink very, very well. But we also decided let's see what they have unfinished and what other, what is the base product? What are these, amazing sourced rye whiskeys that they're pulling? I mean, knowing Matt's background on, blending and sourcing and doing some amazing stuff with some amazing product, I we knew the base product that we were going to start with was going to be some very, very good stuff. So I'm like, Matt, why don't you also pour us, why don't you let us try like 4 or 5 different of your older rye product and let us try that too. And so we went through the process of selecting some of the older MGP sourced unfinished, and we just fell in love with the pour of this. The unfinished Ry3 is an older, almost 8 year, and it's also one that you can sit there and sip and enjoy and love as a single sipper. And it also has a taste profile that's a very bourbon drinker approachable rye whiskey. When we found that in the flavor tasting, it's not one that's your heavy dill or your heavy minty or your super fresh cut grass. It had those flavor characteristics that become a very bridgeable drinking single barrel 95.5 rye, but a bourbon drinker could sit down and appreciate the flavor profile coming out of it. And it also holds really well to a cocktail. If someone wants to pour an old fashioned, or they don't want the finished Manhattan and they want to pour this rye as their Manhattan.
A proper rye old fashioned.
And yes, absolutely. We actually sat down in the restaurant with our barrel selections and had our head bartender make the cocktails that featured rye whiskeys in our signature cocktails already to make sure it held up to that flavor profile we were looking for our cocktail menu, and it just blew them out of the water. There was no way we could not select this one as well and not have this available for our customers to purchase coming in the restaurant and wanting to be like, oh, I tried this, can I buy it? So one of the great things about our restaurant, you can come in and you can drink anything in the bar, and we can also generally sell you a bottle of what we're pouring.
That's
and
amazing.
We always have our single barrels available to purchase for our customers that come in and try them as a pour at the bar.
I don't know anything about that.
No, Mr. Gold Eagle over there. Hey, try before you buy.
Well, it's you don't see really many restaurants that are focused on, the aspect of being able to take bottles home to go, and I'm sure that has a lot to do with the license and what a certain restaurant can do. But it's super cool to see that you guys have that and take advantage of it.
So that's not all restaurants in Illinois can do that.
I would say most
do not.
Yeah,
I was to say very few. There's only 1 or 2 other ones I can think of, especially down in this area, that do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain you need to get a special license from your.
We do have. I don't want to steal Rich's thunder. We're going to bring Rich, our other owner, on here soon, and he can talk more about that. But this restaurant is very focused on your experience while you're here. Want you to feel like you're in like a nice upscale Southern cuisine restaurant, focusing on Kentucky down to Louisiana. Our menu focuses on that. There's over 350 whiskeys and bourbons on our menu. And, if you sample it and we have it in stock, we have the ability to sell you a bottle if you really, really want to try that.
Wait, are you saying I missed out on some shrimp and grits tonight? Because if I found that out, now I'm
missed out. You missed out on some bourbon glazed bacon wrapped colossal shrimp. Yes.
Grits?
Yeah, you
we did a jambalaya rice.
Okay, all right.
We did not do grits. They don't hold up as well for the masses. We had 60 people here tonight sampling our single barrels And quite frankly, I think we're going to sell out tonight of our Madeira single barrel at this event.
It's not often you get to see Dan visibly upset, so watch the YouTube for that.
Shrimp and grits are top notch for me.
That's
so,
actually one of our best sellers on our menu.
Jambalaya is fine for me, but give me a good shrimp and dirty grits and a good whiskey. That's my
That
happy
is
zone.
actually probably one of our top 3 sellers on the menu.
Yeah.
All right.
So next time Dan's up here.
Well, I know Matt needs to go sign some models because we have people waiting that are waiting for his signature to take out of the restaurant tonight. And we're going to bring Rich on. So, any other questions?
But
for
yeah,
Matt?
I appreciate it, guys. Yeah, thanks for having
I
me.
really appreciate you taking the time out
course,
tonight to talk with us.
Yeah.
And coming up from Virginia when we're getting ready to have like ice and snow overnight.
I'll tell you,
here in
I was that
Chicago.
idiot coming off the plane in shorts and flip flops and a hoodie, and everybody's kind of staring at me. Then I walked outside and realized what I had in store for myself.
Yeah.
I did bring a jacket. I don't think I've worn a jacket in 8 years, but I had one for today and have used it.
Well, I'm glad we could drag you out to Chicago.
Yeah, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming.
All right.
We're going to go into part 2 here of the podcast. We have Rich here, which is the, I believe, founder and primary owner of the Oak.
Yes.
So welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. What you got a first initial thing that you want to tell us?
Well, I could tell you a little bit about the restaurant.
Absolutely.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. How'd you start it? How'd you get into this? What's your background?
Well, guys, I'm going to start with probably something that's a little bit difficult to talk about, but I'm okay talking about it. And the reason is because March 13th of 2025 will actually be our 5-year anniversary. So we opened 2020 March 13th and closed the restaurant on the 15th.
Yes.
And I knock on wood every day that we're still standing, but it's based on, I think, what we've built. And I say that because, everyone could say, it's a special restaurant. I could definitely say this is a special restaurant because of what we have here. And it is a staff that is committed, vested, want to provide a great experience. Our food is at the absolute highest quality. We do prime beef, 8-ounce burger. We do a 6-ounce chicken breast. That's cage-free, vegetarian diet. The things we do, where other restaurants are kind of pulling back, we're kind of pushing forward. I want our guests to, because you can go anywhere, right? You can go anywhere to enjoy, dinner. I want you to come here. I want you to experience what we offer and what we do. And with the staff that has been consistent, and we've only had, when I say turnover, less than 10% turnover.
Wow.
Our chef's amazing. What he does every day, we work together and we talk about how we can make this restaurant better. And I think that's one thing that a lot of, and I'm not going to say anything negative. That's the last thing I want to do. But I can say this, where other restaurants are actually pulling back, we're actually pushing forward.
Yeah, it's hands down an experience to come here. You're going to meet amazing staff that take amazing care of you, that have been part of the restaurant for a very long time. They care about what you need. The chef here has been here from the beginning. He does amazing food. And the experience you get in this restaurant takes you into that, like Southern hospitality feel with
Absolutely.
amazing upscale cuisine and just an amazing cocktail bourbon.
That's,
Wines. If you don't drink bourbon, the wine list is phenomenal.
The wine list is definitely special. There's no question. What we do by the glass versus by the bottle, cocktail creation, what we've done here, what we do and how we do it. Execution is everything. Consistency is everything. Most importantly, when you look at, guests coming to Oak, we want them to feel like, special, and they should, right? We want our guests to come back. We want them to feel like, hey, nice to see you, Rich. Hey, Anna, nice to see you behind the bar. Sylvia, on the floor. I mean, we want our guests to come in, and this happens on the regular. We have our guests come in and they ask for certain servers because of the way they've been treated. They ask for, certain individuals to make sure that, they're well taken care of. And, that goes a long way. And when there's presence and ownership and, when I say a vested interest, you've got someone like Gary who's jumped in and has made this, so much better based on the things that he's brought. So when we talk about whiskeys, we'll move away from food, talk about whiskey. Our selection of single barrels are exceptional, and they're only getting better.
Yeah, so the first thing I felt when I walked in here was I felt like I was in Kentucky.
I love that. That's what I wanted.
And not just because of the big whiskey selection. You can find that at many different restaurants, but you have like the memorabilia out there.
Thank you.
The menu, I asked for a menu right when I walked in. It's definitely a Southern menu.
Yes. I wanted those Southern touches.
Yeah, I don't eat meat, so there wasn't a whole lot on the menu that I could eat, but I did have the pistachio crusted white fish, and that was unbelievable.
Yeah, that's one of our mains, and it is something special. We talk about, now we're going back to the menu, and I'm good with that because our jambalaya, we bring in crawfish for that dish. As far as shrimp and grits, we do it, and we do it really well.
Dan was talking up.
Yeah, sorry, Dan.
Earlier.
You missed
I
out.
know.
Dan, what did you
rolling
say?
through
We
the
missed
menu.
you?
Yeah, I live too far away. I've been rolling through the menu, and yeah, shrimp and grits is my jam. You got some of my favorites on there because nothing beats a good tachos when you just want to get when you want to get plastered. Like tachos is the thing you want.
Yeah,
and then like you can make fun of me for this.
It's a winner.
I love a restaurant with a wedge salad. Like there's times where I just need to get away, have a salad to like make myself feel better, but it's like,
yes.
No, give me bacon with it, please.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
that's a salad I'll eat.
So brother, our wedge, we do our own dressings, right? Everything we do is made in-house. So we do our own dressings, we do our own sauces. And I love that you said that because you know what? A wedge salad, it actually makes me feel like I'm eating healthy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes you feel good about bacon. It's like
lots of bacon.
yeah, you can feel good because you're eating bacon, but it's like yeah, but it's a salad, so it doesn't count as bacon. It's a salad. It's always my view on a wedge. Like
Jake, I know you want to talk about the revolving door. We got to point that out.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Revolving door is a barrel.
It's an actual
So
barrel.
definitely fitting for the theme of
Yeah, so I love that you brought that up because that was like one of the things. Like I'm like, oh, when we opened them, we got a revolving door. I'm like, wouldn't it be cool if it was a barrel? and actually now it is. It's an actual barrel.
It makes you feel like you're actually like when you, those of you that have gone to Heaven Hill and go in like the whiskey experience, and you walk into that first room, and you walk into the barrel, and they fire up the fire for like the kiln. That's like walking into the restaurant. You're walking into the barrel, into the restaurant. You get that feeling of Kentucky home, Southern hospitality. You want to be here. You know you're going to get taken care of, and it's going to be a great experience.
Yeah, thank you, Gary. Without question, that's just the beginning, right? And all the things that we do, we work hard at it. And,
Absolutely.
I think maybe a lot of what we want to talk about is, and I don't know how much it's been talked about, but tonight the barrel drop, the Ry3.
We did talk a lot about the Ry3.
Then let's not talk about it anymore. Let's talk about other things.
We can still talk more about Ry3. It's a phenomenal brand. We know that. And we're tasting. What we didn't really talk about was the straight rye, which is what we're tasting right now.
I love that. Thank you. I'm happy you're tasting that.
The straight rye.
This rye is just knock your socks off single barrel approach to what is a bridgeable rye whiskey that a bourbon drinker that says I don't like rye will love, and a rye drinker who's a gung-ho rye will get the notes from the rye that they appreciate.
That's one thing that I'll share with you because what you just said, for me at least, rye was never like my go-to. just wasn't like, if I had something to choose, it wasn't going to be a Rye. It's bourbon. It's amazing how your palate over time kind of changes because you're trying different things. All about what I talked about this evening was this Madeira cask, right? Because this is kind of what we showcase. But you're right. This straight rye, 7-year, is solid as a rock. I know, no one can see it, right, unless they're here. But the finish on this Madeira cask still blows me away.
That color.
The
Yeah,
color,
Hold it up because you'll be able to see
the
how
color is ridiculous. And Matt spoke a little bit about, right, finishing and what the blend represents. But the reality is, when we talk about finishing an actual whiskey, when we finish a whiskey, it shouldn't look the way this one does. It has taken so much of the barrel. The color is unbelievable, and everything in the bottle is just on point. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's the color is almost red.
Yes.
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 It has a glowing hue.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? I mean, it's like, I hold the bottle up and I'm like, when Gary brought this to me, I'm like, all right, our Ry3, what are you talking about? Well, we've got Angel's Envy. We've got Elijah Craig. The bourbon's on the shelf. I mean, Old Forester. Our Ry3. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. And I'm glad that you brought that up because there's so many brands like this that need and should be showcased a bit
Agreed.
more. And we talk about this all the time on the podcast. We also talk all the time on how people just have this negative stigma around rye whiskey.
Correct.
And I'm glad you brought up how you just yourself, you notice how your palate develops and you start looking for other things, different things. And rye can just bring a whole nother aspect to our repertoire of whiskey that we have to drink and taste and share.
I absolutely agree with that because, I'm that individual.
Yeah.
But and like Gary said, this brand in particular is a great gateway rye, but also very fitting for a rye.
Brother, it's a diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I mean, and look at the foundation this brand is set on. I mean, we just had Matt Witzig, looking at his past and what he comes from and what he's done in the industry before branching out to start this, essentially joining a company that was a startup, to come out and, test the waters and do something new and bring his breadth of knowledge to that brand. You definitely can tell in the product from this spirit that it's not some, Joe Schmo who's started distilling in my bathtub and decided to start a brand in my barn. No, they are bringing years and years of experience into what they're doing for their product. So they're coming out of the gate swinging.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
So, Rich, I want to back up a little bit here. You started this restaurant right when COVID hit.
Yes.
What were you doing before that? How long was this restaurant in the plan for you?
So it was roughly about 8 months, of a build out prior to, making the decision to move forward with, the concept and what I think, now resonates with our guests. It was 3 years, behind a bar, running a restaurant. Kind of took, a step back to take a couple forward. It's kind of funny. My career was in IT, enterprise sales, but I've always wanted to, take that step in ownership and representing a restaurant. And the opportunity was presented. I was consulting at the time, and I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go ahead and make that decision to change direction. And in doing it, it's changed my life. Now, that being said, never did I imagine opening a restaurant during a pandemic.
No one does, though.
Nobody
to be
could have
fair.
predicted that.
But to keep the restaurant running as strong as you did without there was no government assistance.
No support. We were too young. We were new.
And especially
We had to-
not being in the industry before that.
Well, I was 3 years prior.
Okay, so you were
I worked.
working at...
I was working at a restaurant in Wheeling.
Okay.
I was there for 3 years, and just loved what I was doing, right? I was consulting at the time, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I'd love you to be a part of this if you have interest." I said, "I do." Something he said, "I've always known you wanted to be in the restaurant business, something you've always kind of thought about." He goes, "I'm going to, offer this. I think you'd be a good fit." And it just became, something, the hours are endless. And if you love what you do, that's never an issue. And I truly love what we've built and what this restaurant is. But when we talk about, opening as we did, I remember, talking with Chef and sitting down and basically going over like, okay, what do we need to do? And it was, well, we've got to open for takeout. I'm not in your kitchen when you're unpackaging dinner. There's nothing I can do to make it right if it isn't. But we focused, and when I tell you focused, I was able to retain my staff because they were here taking the incoming orders. We started with Chef, one on the line. That means one person on the line. Traditionally, you run 5 on the line. That's behind the kitchen. Fry, saute, salads, grill, flat top. Using that as an example, within 1 month, actually a little less than 1 month, we were running a full kitchen. We were doing on average 50 orders a night.
Wow.
When we had the opportunity, and I brought every order. I brought 2 as the cars pulled up. I brought it to our guests and thanked them. And the reason why is because, as I continue to say, there's a lot of choices. We were new. Glenview embraced us, and we opened our patio because we had no indoor seating, no indoor dining. We opened our patio. We sat, and it was a beautiful summer in 2020. And I say that for many reasons. We had 50 seats on our patio. We sat over 1,000 heads a weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Never stopped. And I know that everyone just kind of wanted to get out. They wanted to get back to some normal, right? Some normalcy. I'm very thankful for those guests.
And those guests are still coming to the restaurant.
Those guests haven't stopped coming. And yeah, I mean, those guests haven't stopped coming. And it's because of, very simply, what we envisioned, what we embraced, continue to deliver and work hard on it.
So, what was your bourbon or whiskey background before getting into this, and what made you want to make this like a bourbon forward type of restaurant?
Yeah, you named the restaurant Oak, so
Yeah.
clearly that's
right. So everyone asks me, why oak? I'm like, oak charred barrel.
we get it,
right? I know you guys get it. So my background, as I said, enterprise sales, technology.
But were you like a connoisseur yourself, and you're like, hey, I need to build this, or did you just see the trend of?
I saw the trend, but I actually was brought into Spears. Spears is located on the corner of Wheeling and Lake Cook Road.
Phenomenal burgers.
3 years I was there, and I can answer this question with a guest that asked me this. I said, how do you know so much about whiskey? I said, well, if I'm going to share with you things that I enjoy, if I'm going to ask what you enjoy, I should have a pretty good knowledge of what's behind me, right? And that's the back bar. And what's behind me is, here at Oak, we have over 300 now, 350 whiskeys. You need to know, right? And how do you get to know, right? You do a little bit of research. Take some time. Because in sales, right? And the best research is the best research is right, enjoying it. But the reality is, in sales, if you don't know your product, you'll never be successful. So know your product. Get a sense of what your guests enjoy. And then offer them something that makes sense. Anyone can come into Oak and say, I'd love to have Blanton's. E.H. Taylor. So rare. There's a lot of other whiskeys. And I love Buffalo Trace. Don't get me wrong. I love Buffalo Trace.
You don't have to justify yourself here.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Because guess what? This is what I always say. And I always say this to every guest when I have that opportunity and they ask about our single barrels or they ask about whiskey. What I say is there's a reason there's so many. Don't drink what you drink at home when you go out. Try something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
So
Yeah, no,
we've-
that's, yeah, I mean, that's
We've
Because I
probably
wanted
crossed
to answer the
paths.
question with, very much what it is to sell to, or when I say sell to, right, we're always selling, right? What it is to actually share with someone what you like.
Yeah.
Talk about what resides in the glass. Talk about why, right, the distillery has had the history and the success overcoming adversities as Oak has. The big picture is when you look at Kentucky whiskey, when you look at the nation and what we do, man, what a product. Really. I mean, something exceptional.
And now it's kind of at the point where we've become established over this 5 years. Now, coming in as an owner to this restaurant with my background on barrel selections and being part of many whiskey clubs here in the area, having done stuff with Jake in the store at Gold Eagle, and just, being, the whiskey. I'm just like any other guy who just really enjoys good whiskey. But I've been blessed with the opportunity to have sampled, thousands of whiskeys versus many people that go to their staple product and pick out nuances and what's going to make a great single barrel. So now it's kind of like we have that established clientele that love their bourbons, love their whiskeys, and now it's kind of looking forward to taking that next step with Oak
Yeah.
here to put out those better, those
Yeah.
more single barrels, more.
I like what you're saying because like this right here, Ry3, this wasn't a whiskey that I knew, and now I do, right? And I'm so happy, right, to share it with our guests. And we were at BourbonCon, Gary and I bring that up because that was just awesome. What a great time, and so many different whiskeys that we had the opportunity. Boy, but the big picture is dark arts.
Ooh.
And I'm you like that?
We've had Macaulay out to
Yeah.
the store in Libertyville a couple times.
All right, so he's a madman,
Yeah.
right? And,
Oh, yeah.
and we dig that, right?
Yeah.
We love that. And why not? What he's doing is pretty incredible. And I sat in on his seminar, and I was impressed. Prior to that, I was already making a decision on with Gary what's the good fit for what's the right fit. When I say good fit, great fit for Oak. So we did choose a barrel, and that's going to be coming. But sitting in on his seminar, new versus old, right? So we could say history versus future. The way we look at whiskey now is very different because we're blending, we're finishing, we're doing things that haven't been done before but are being done now. Doesn't take away from what was built, the foundation. It's just expanding on it. I love what's new as much as I love the history that represents what that now is.
It's I mean, you couldn't have said it any better, and it is perfect because we are challenging what is old, and we're putting it to the test, coming out with new and innovative things, and that is then forcing the distilleries that didn't have to make any changes to go out and make changes and come up with something new
Absolutely.
as well. So
No one shames you for coming in and ordering your neat pour of Woodford Double Oak, or a Heaven Hill bottled and bottled, like a classic staple, delicious whiskey. But that's also something you're drinking at home. And Rich brought up the point of look at the selection we have. Come get a flight of 3
Yes.
from a new distillery you've never heard of, and take a chance, and you might find something you love. And that's what this restaurant opens the doors for, to give you that opportunity to do.
If you're thinking of buying a barrel, I shouldn't say a barrel. Think of buying we buy barrels. When you think of buying a bottle, right? Pricing now, I shake my head, right? Because I have many whiskeys that I love and, gravitate to, and I'll share a couple with you. But the big picture is guests that come in want to try something prior to spending the money on a bottle. That's what Oak, any other bourbon bars are built on. Come in and try it. Because to spend 150, to spend 200, spend 90, 80, pick a number. I remember when I walked into Binny's.
We don't say that.
We
word
don't say
here.
that word.
We don't say Binny's?
No, you can say it.
Can I say Liquor
You're
Barn?
talking
Can I say
about
Liquor,
the store.
can I say
No.
Liquor Barn? Can I say Liquor Barn?
We say Gold Eagle.
Oh, we say Gold Eagle. I like that. When you walk in the Gold Eagle and you look at what's available. Is that better? Yeah. I remember Henry McKenna, 10-year.
What's back on the shelf now?
Yes, but do you remember it when it was $39?
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember when
10-year.
you should
Bottled
you should,
in bond. Heaven, are you kidding me? What happened?
You should listen to the episode with my dad on it from about a year and a half ago, where he talks about how we had stacks of all Pappy Van Winkles.
Yes.
Nobody wanted it. We had to put it on sale to get it out of there, and it just sat and collected dust.
That's crazy,
Mhm.
right? That's crazy. And
today I had somebody offer me a bottle of Pappy 15 for $1,100.
Oh, good deal. Did you take it?
did you jump on that? Did you say, great deal?
Only 1,100. Hell
I'm going
yes.
to put it up at Unicorn.
Yeah. I would take this single barrel of Ry3 all
Over
day.
the all day.
For, at that
All
price.
day.
all
It's
day.
good, right?
For
All
$88,
$88.
So we
Gary, 88, not 87.
not 89 or 90. 88.
Gary's dropping a discount code after this for $87 for the bottle.
Come into the restaurant, mention this podcast, get a free appetizer. On
There you go. Yes.
No, but seriously,
minus seafood.
Well, to hammer that point home, though, you guys have 350 plus bottles of whiskey here. You two probably won't say this, but I will. If you come here and order a Woodford Double Oak, you're an idiot. Try something new that you're not going to necessarily go splurge on at the store. Try it here for however much the pour is, and then you can decide if that's worth buying the bottle or not. Right?
That
brings
makes
up
sense, right?
Try a
That
flight.
makes sense.
Try
Yeah,
a
and that-
flight. You get to try multiple.
Now, if we're talking about Russell's, 13 or 15, buy the bottle.
Well, that brings up a good point that we discussed on part 1 of this episode that we wanted to ask you. Because you don't see a lot of restaurants selling bottles to go. Is that a special license that you
Yes.
had to get?
Yes, absolutely. So I have 2 licenses. We have obviously consumption, and then we have retail. Now, retail being, you can't come into Oak and buy Angel's Envy because I'm not going to be able to price that. But as far as our single barrels, and when I say price that, meaning I'm not competitive.
As a restaurant, you can't compete with liquor stores.
I cannot
and
compete
vice
with-
versa.
Gold Eagle.
That's correct.
I cannot. But I did it for our single barrels.
Yeah.
Because that's where I can compete.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying I can compete at a level in which, right, the turnover on, your liquor store.
But you're offering your
I'm
customers.
offering it at, when you say, all right, so this is the Madeira at $98, I would think that would be something you'd see on the shelf at most liquor stores at $98. $88? This is a $10 difference.
Well,
$88?
You're selling yourself short a little bit because they can't find these at any other store.
You can't find them
Yeah.
anywhere.
This
Your
is
only place you can get
This
these
is where you
can-
get
you
them.
can
This is
buy
where you enjoy them. This is where you leave with.
Madeira finish at a
Correct.
different store of Ry3. But we talked
Correct.
on part 1 about how wildly different all
Correct.
these single barrels are. So if you like this one, you have to get it here.
Yes,
And it
because
is
when
a-
it's
it is a
gone,
very
right,
fair
when
price.
it's gone, it's
It'll
gone
be
forever.
gone soon, actually, after tonight's event.
Yeah, tonight has been wonderful. Man, this is awesome. This is the first time I've been on a podcast, and I kind of just want to stay on it.
I want to try to get something more of a drink.
I'm having the best time.
So-
I mean, this
And
is
you have to
awesome.
bring me the open
We can
bottle.
keep talking.
As you know, right? This is not an easy business.
Yeah. No,
Restaurant?
it's definitely It's a lot of fun, but it's a lot of work.
My goodness, it sure is. And, when we talk about, the difference, from this versus, a barrel pick that you would have in your store, they're all very different. And the bottom line is, when anyone asks me, single barrel, yeah, special, because there's 220 bottles.
At max.
At the very, right, yeah, at the very most. When it's gone, it's gone. And, yeah, it's here now. Come and get it.
Yeah, I think actually this Madeira cast, we only got about 72 bottles. Like, this was a much smaller fill.
It was a very small allocation, and we were fortunate to actually say, okay, we love the 7-year we have with the Madeira. And I'll tell you what, guys, I've said this more than once. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but man, truly impressed with what they're doing. And man, this is one hell of a ride.
I'm opening this and pouring more. It's my bottle.
Why do you got to do that? It's not even signed.
Some people would say that you could probably find the best single barrels in Lake County at Oak. I would agree with that.
I would like to think that. I would like
never
to think
tasted.
I would. From what I've heard, I would agree that the best place to get single barrels in Lake County is Oak.
Well, I have 12 right now, and we got another 6 coming.
We're in Cook County. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh no, Glenview's north of that line.
Once again.
No, it's
Glenview's
not.
north, isn't it? I thought Glenview was just north.
We're
Damn
one
it.
exit south of Lake Cook Road.
Dang it, that's right. Dang it.
I'm not.
Dan just wants to plug something besides Gold Eagle.
Wait a minute. Gold Eagle? We will never say Benny's. We will never say Liquor Brown. We will only say Gold Eagle.
Yeah, just don't say the word Benny's. That's all we ask is not to say Benny's.
We don't say the B word.
I learned
allow
that. I learned that
swearing,
tonight.
But there's one naughty.
I was
word.
not briefed prior to sitting down. And Gary wasn't, because that bottle was supposed to be signed.
Well, I mean,
fine.
Gary was brief, but you can't control
sign my
Gary.
open bottle.
Gary's got this little collection in the office. Never saw it coming. He signed up, said, I want to be a part of the restaurant. And I've got more whiskey in my office than I do at the bar.
So I got to ask, with over 300 whiskeys, how do you decide what gets to make it to the menu and what doesn't?
So you're always going to pick the staples, right? It's a great question. There's no bad question, right? Only the one asking it. So it's a great question. And I want you to know this. You'll always have the staples. You have to. But it's what you then share with your guests about the other bottles, right, that are on that back bar. And I've got bottles on that back bar that I love talking about, and always my single barrels, but choices are made based on what sells. That's it. That's it. There's no wrong, right. It's what sells. I don't want bottles with dust on them. Do you?
No.
Yeah, but the other good thing is there's never
Does that make
The
sense?
restaurant also takes the opportunity, like being a restaurant, we don't have to order 25 cases.
No.
I can take a chance on ordering in a mix, a half case. Or,
Gary, I'll place 3 bottles on
Yeah,
the back bar
exactly.
and share with our guests,
Yes.
something we brought
and
in,
it's-
want
and we're never
you to
gonna-
try it.
We're never going to select something that we don't taste and think is worth sharing to the guests.
No, I mean, come on, Old Forester,
Everybody
right?
everybody
Use
knows
Old
that.
Forester as an example, right? I've done 2 barrel picks with Old Forester prior to Gary. 2 barrel picks, both of which I'm very proud of, and the first one sold out, and the second one's about gone, and both of them, right? Great. Old Forester is a solid bourbon, so you carry the line, right? You carry what guests can say. I never had the Prohibition. Well, we got it. Right, I never had the old fine whiskey, which I love. We got it. Don't drink the Statesman.
It's probably Dan's favorite.
I don't do the movie whiskeys. I'm not a big fan of those.
But I have it.
Well, I know we got customers here that are finishing up the event. I want to let Rich tell
No, Gary, stop. I want to stay. I just want to stay. I just want to. I don't want to. I don't want to leave the microphone.
We're gonna go another 2 hours. What time do you guys close?
Brother, we're staying late tonight. No, I get it.
I want to make sure our guests are taken care of, and I know Rich.
Gary, the guests are taken care of. We got a full staff. You don't need to worry about that. I control that. Everyone's great. I assure you. I overstaffed for our event.
One of the things I did want to touch on is your cocktail menu.
Yes.
Gary alluded to, you have a very extensive cocktail menu, very whiskey focused. How do you guys decide which whiskeys to use as the bases for your cocktails, and then which cocktails do you want to feature on the menu and things like that?
So I've got a great relationship with Heaven Hill, and I'm a huge fan, right?
There we go.
Of what they do.
Oh, Dan.
So Heaven Hill is my favorite.
Quick background.
distillery,
His favorite. Dan hates it.
Dan, are you telling me you don't like the Heaven Hill bottled and bond?
I am drinking Elijah Craig tonight.
I'm a fan, brother. That's a big one.
I just Jake will probably offer you head tonight just because he likes Heaven Hill that much.
That's what it feels like with this fucking microphone.
You gotta get a little closer, brother.
No, fuck that. When you said get close, I'm like, brother, this is as far as I want to be. So I love Heaven Hill bottled and bond. Great bourbon. Parker Heritage, come on. Old Fitzgerald, what are we talking about? Those are great bourbons.
He'll never admit it. Just
Admit it. You have to.
Just keep going.
Fall and spring.
He's drinking Elijah Craig Barrel.
I love that he's drinking Elijah. So basically, we pick, and I have to say this, right? This is how we pick. We look at what works best with the cocktail. We here do an Elijah Craig old fashioned. It works. It works, and it works really well. Manhattan, I poured our single barrel Knob Creek. And I'll tell you, it was a great compliment. 6-year rye, Knob Creek. I think it was coming in at, my goodness, I think it was like 115. And it was, 115. And it was just on point. So that's kind of how we make our decisions. And we make our decisions if it doesn't work, that cocktail comes off very quickly.
Do you kind of go off of how many times people are reordering?
Yeah, our guests, right? So we do a product, right, mix, and we get a sense of, what lines up. Our old-fashioned, it does extremely well, right? Everyone loves it. It's the number one cocktail right now. And ours is as traditional as you get. It's just a perfect classic cocktail. Manhattan, no different, right? You use the great ingredients that make that. We say great, right? You use, for my opinion, a Manhattan Carpano sweet vermouth. It's a perfect vermouth for that cocktail. It's simple. 3 components, right? Bitters. What bitters do we all like?
Sure.
Thank you. Traditional. It's right. We do a killer, right? When we talk about cherries, everyone's like, oh, Luxardo. No. We do a Bordeaux cherry with the stem on that is ordered special for the restaurant, and it's off the chart. And here's where it gets better. If you don't have, and you want it right up, perfect. If you don't have the right ice, don't be in this business.
100%.
Don't be in. I am telling you right now, man. You want that clear cube, and you want it pure and right. Want to know why? Because it is right. It doesn't change the cocktail. It holds up to the cocktail.
You guys make your own ice?
No way. I order my ice, and I'll give them a plug. Quarry Ice.
I'll give Gold Eagle a plug. We sell Quarry Ice.
Brother, Gold Eagle and Oak sell Quarry Ice. They are just right at what they do.
Phenomenal.
Is it not perfect? Right, brother? I mean, I have our we do so we don't do a sphere, right? We don't do the round. We do the true.
It's about for the big blocks about $1 a cube. Which people are like, how do you spend $1 on ice? But it makes a huge difference in the cocktail. If you're making a cocktail right, you need a.
I agree. Hey, listen, man, if there's a bourbon bar that's making their own ice, Stop it. Stop it.
Well, and if you're
Look,
at
you guys
home-
don't want me. You guys don't want me to leave, do you? Gary wants me to check on
Going, man. Keep
Gary
going.
wants me to check on the restaurant. I'm like, Gary, the restaurant's fine. It's been
No,
fine for
it's-
5 years. We're good. I'm happy just on this microphone, although it's just getting a little uncomfortable.
Benny, if you're at home and you're going to spend that $1 per cube on a
Yeah.
purchased ice
Yeah.
cube, you want it to last
Yes.
2, 3
Yes.
cocktails.
Right. I never
So-
knew the whole, like,
Seasoned ice.
right? It's like, yeah. If I'm drinking a couple, that rock stays.
Yeah.
I mean, it stays, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. No, it
Love
makes a big
Gold Eagle.
difference.
Love
Hell yeah.
Gold Eagle.
They're selling the right stuff. So they're making they've made the right choices. No
I
question.
think at some point we got to do a collab barrel pick.
I would love that.
Absolutely. That would be
I
fun.
would love that. Absolutely. That'd be awesome. I would love that.
Get it in the
Well,
works.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I think one last thing too we do need to plug is what we launched tonight. Is our Oak Barrel Club program.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah,
glad
let's
you brought
hear
that.
about
Thank
that.
you, Gary.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead, Gary.
wanted
You
to-
do your
So-
thing. Do your thing. Talk about it.
So this is our first. Oak's been around, going on our 5-year anniversary, and what we decided to do this year is give the opportunity for not only regular, people that come in
Our
all
guests.
the time to
Our guests, right.
We're limiting 100 guests that want to join a single barrel program the opportunity here at Oak to be the first people to get their hands on their bottle. They're going to be doing multiple picks throughout the year. And we have a very reasonable, in our opinion, and for
Very.
a single barrel program price point for somebody to get in and sample and get their hands on 4 very good bottles, single barrels that we picked throughout this year. So what we're doing is for $425, you join our Barrel Club program, like I said, limited to 100 people. You'll get one of our single barrel picks every quarter, and you're also going to get a very nice Glencairn holder and glass to take with you.
So you're going to get a Glen and the actual oak barrel holder, which is so cool.
Beautiful holder that we had custom made for the restaurant.
Yep.
That holds the glass. And then you're going to get the opportunity every quarter you're going to get one of our single barrel picks.
You're going to get something special,
and it's
right?
going to be something special.
So
'Cause these are going to be made.
Yeah.
Like you're going to get the first hand. We're going to make sure our Barrel Club members get. Our
Well, they're
best
gonna-
barrel
the-
picks for the year.
As Blantons would say, you're going to get those honey barrels.
Yeah.
So,
At
what I'm
this
going to
point-
tell you right now, regarding the Barrel Club, this is a guarantee. In the Barrel Club, you're going to get a 10-year whistle pig.
Yes.
That's a given. You're going to get a 10-year whistle pig. That's part of what we've already decided in conversation around the barrel picks we're doing. I'll give you just a couple others. We're doing a Penelope toasted barrel. We have a Dark Arts. I'm not going to tell you what the finish is because it's super cool. We definitely have a couple others to kind of line up with those two. I like to do, 2 ryes, bourbons. So that's kind of what we talked about. But right now you're gonna see 2 very special barrels, 10-year whistle pig guaranteed, and you're gonna see the Dark Arts.
You also mentioned earlier, Gary, that getting part of the club, you get first.
Wait a minute,
dibs on-
Gary. What is this? They can see us?
Oh yeah, we're on video.
What do you mean?
Yeah, we saw you licking that microphone.
Oh my
It's not the first time someone's done
Clearly,
that on
we're
the podcast.
going to be very good friends.
We get our Glen holder.
Ooh.
Throw it against the wall, Gary.
Yeah, exactly. I had to walk up and say, "This is not something we recommend. It's not something we even talk about. Put it in your suitcase. You're good."
I will say the one thing I'm mad at is that you didn't just do $420 for the memes. Like, why is it got to be $425 and not $420 just for the memes?
Based on wait a minute. Based on the cost of Gary's negotiation, I was a little bit, kind of like, okay, do your thing, and I was like, whoa, really? but it's a great package.
You're still getting a very good discount on everything you get through here.
At the end of the day, when you
And
look
you're
at
going to
it,
get a very
if
good
it's $425 and you get the glass
And
the barrel,
that's a very good value.
come on, $100, it's a great value.
4 barrel
Yeah.
picks, and you also mentioned earlier that you get first dibs on other barrel picks.
There'll be other barrel picks that you'll have the opportunity. It'll be sent out and say, "Would you like this?"
Yeah, so when we are getting ready to drop further
Yeah,
barrel
would
picks
you
through
like
here,
this as potentially,
Before-
something to add to?
Yes. We're
What's
to make
offered
sure
for the
you're
quarter?
never going to be left out of the opportunity to get another barrel pick that it's not in the program.
It's listen, this is if it's not fun, don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and anybody who signed up tonight, I bought them a pour.
So generous.
So if you get people from this episode and they come in, you got to buy them a quart too.
Yes.
Because there's people that
Don't worry,
couldn't
we have
make
a
it,
comp tab and it goes right to Gary's number.
Gary, what else you got?
That'll be the. How about we make that the Bourbon Matters? Make that the Bourbon Matters.
It's up to you guys if you want it.
If they come in and sign up for
It's the
the
same
barrel
thing as him
program,
negotiating about this barrel and glass.
If they come in and sign
If
up
he's
for the
putting it
barrel
out there, I
program
got to support it.
and mention they heard about the program through the Bourbon Matters podcast.
Yeah, it's
They can
bringing
have a-
people
they
into
can
the
have a-
restaurant.
That's what it's all
They can
about.
have a pour of the
Yes.
single barrel here. That's a thank you for signing up.
So I gotta stop now because I gotta inform the staff of this.
A bus just pulled up out there.
Quick, upload the episode. Quick.
Our massive 32 followers.
Please tell me it just sucks it right out of his paycheck. Like, I just want to see that. Just like
It
zoom.
comes right out of my profit statement. Yes.
This has been awesome, guys. I love it, man.
It's great.
It's so much fun.
So, what general plugs for the store? Do you guys have like an email list? Do you like?
We're
Address,
listen,
Facebook, whatever
we're
you
building
got.
that now, right? So the focus now is to build on the Bourbon Club, right?
Yes.
What I think is going to be really special for Oak. Obviously, always look at our website. I'm always posting, right? If we're doing an event, this event Ry3, man, I couldn't be happier with the support and the individuals that showed up, and it was a success, right? These bottles are available, and so many others that we have right on the shelf for sale. So love you to come in and just keep a lookout, on our website.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for being on.
Yeah,
Awesome.
It's a lot
follow
of
us
fun.
on
Great. I mean, I
Instagram,
loved it.
follow us on Instagram,
I loved it.
Oak at the Glen.
Can I get this dick out of my face?
Hasn't bothered you till now. I'm just gonna say.
No, brother. No,
Gary was your
there
partner.
does, wait, it does come a time where you got to walk away.
Well, he breathed heavy into it for so long. He just wants to make sure he doesn't get the end result.
All right, so one question, brother. One question, right? Why Heaven Hell is not your jam?
I don't mind Heaven Hill. Jake just thinks everything they do is the best thing that's ever been done in whiskey history.
All
and
right.
because of that, I cannot stand it.
I get it. I just had to ask
I
that
still
question
drink
because-
it. Like, I've been
I
drinking
get
it.
it.
all
Right, I
night.
know. I see it.
I have Heaven Hill on my shelf. It's just that Jake is like, they can't do anything wrong. It's always the best ever. Oh.
Dan is what you would call a contrarian.
So hold on a minute. Are you looking at what his pullover says?
Oh, which pullovers you wearing?
He's got a Four Roses pullover.
Yeah, I got my 4 roses.
Yeah.
But Dan would love the sign in the office over there. So
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, I was mad that it didn't have the letter F included on it. But, other than that, I was fine with it.
This is
I'm also anti Bardstown.
What? You got to be kidding. Listen. I'll tell you what. They've taken some great strides. They've done a pretty good job. I understand.
All
Listen. I understand.
Well, so guys, if you're
listen and I don't judge.
if you're in Glenview, the Glen is an awesome place to be at. Stop in at Oak at the Glen. Plenty of things to do around there. make sure to pick up the Glen. Guys, are you still there? Or did we lose you?
Yeah,
No, we're still here.
All
Our
right.
camera fell off the table.
There's
Yeah.
I saw that. I wasn't sure if that was the whole studio or what.
We just all
Jake,
tumbling down.
we know that since they're in Cook County by one exit, they're just south of Willow Road. They don't have the best
safe.
barrel picks in Lake County.
We're safe.
So where can people find the best barrel picks in Lake County?
You guys already know. You can go to goldeaglewine.com. Follow us on Instagram at Gold Eagle Wine. Follow us on Facebook at Gold Eagle Spirits. Make sure you download our app on the Apple App Store, Google Play Store. But yeah, I do want to throw in a shout out to you guys, Gary and Rich, for having us here. This is a very special place. I did feel like I was walking into a Kentucky restaurant when I came in here. So yeah, if you're ever in the area, definitely swing by, taste a couple whiskeys,
Thank you.
Get some good food for sure.
Awesome.
And definitely look forward to some great things to come.
We might, we'll
The
get
collaboration,
some kind of collaboration
thing.
going.
Listen, it's right. Once it's said, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Benny's turns you down, ask
I
me.
mean, we've
Bad
done.
word.
Did he just say Benny's? Did he just say Benny's?
I think
And you're fired.
I think I heard him. I think if we turn Benny's down, if you guys turn Benny's down, then you come. Yeah.
No,
We don't-
it's only if Gold Eagle turns us down.
No. Yeah, we don't. We know who we're partnering with, and we love to partner with restaurants. We've done a couple of barrel picks already with certain restaurants, and I think this is a absolutely perfect fit for us.
I'd love
So
it.
would love to get something in the
Yeah, I
works
know
to
Gary. Myself.
do
I
some
mean,
kind of
goes without
collaboration
saying.
here.
Thank you. Would absolutely jump in on that.
Yeah. So Jake, where can we listen to other Bourbon Matters?
Yeah, where can we find the 17th best podcast in Lake County on bourbon?
Wait, in the U.S.
It's in the
No,
United
it's-
States.
I know we're U.S. ranked now. That's crazy, right?
Yes.
You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on Spotify and YouTube. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook at Bourbon Matters. I think Dan didn't renew the website. So
No, we did not. Traffic was super low, so there was no reason to spend money on it.
We only got one PayPal donation ever, and it was Kyle. So thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thanks, Kyle, for our only PayPal. It's still in the account. It's still $5 in a PayPal account that I signed up for. So
PayPal's
we can
gonna
distribute
charge
that
us out of
equally.
that one.
Well, all I can say is thank you guys. I appreciate it. I'm so happy you came tonight, and this has been a great evening. So I truly appreciate it.
Yeah,
I
it's
truly
been so
appreciate
much
you being
fun.
here.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Nice meeting all of you.
Yeah.